Urgent, Niners fan! Look at what just happened! Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest Niners news, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Who should the 49ers target if they trade up in the first round? The 49ers could be a sneaky contender to trade up with their draft capital. The 2025 NFL Draft is just 3 weeks away, and the San Francisco 49ers are loading up for what could be one of their most crucial drafts in recent memory. The 49ers hold the number 11 pick, which they could use to address several different needs on the roster, with many projecting them to address the trenches early. As the draft nears closer and closer, many analysts have suggested a possible trade back for the 49ers to pick up extra ammunition and select a position of need. But a sneaky trade-up cannot be counted out either, as San Francisco is already loaded with capital and is looking for their next cornerstone players. Who should the 49ers target if they trade up in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft? The unrealistic choice, if there were one unrealistic option for the 49ers that would sit right with head coach Kyle Shanahan, it would be Colorado Buffalo's two-way star Travis Hunter. Now, is Hunter likely to be a 49er? Absolutely not. There's an expectation that he'll be taken inside the top 5 depending on how the quarterback dominoes fall. But for a coach who loves to use unique traits of players in his offensive scheme, Hunter would be a fun addition for Shanahan, as he could play cornerback full-time while getting in certain packages on offense. ESPN's Bill Barnwell recently wrote about all the trade possibilities in the first round, providing an unrealistic trade between the 49ers and the Patriots, where San Francisco would move up to number 4 and get offensive lineman Cole Strange while parting ways with number 11 and star receiver Brandon Ayuk. In this scenario, the 49ers could draft Hunter, who would appeal to both Shanahan, an offensive mastermind, and defensive coordinator Robert Saleh. Remember that Saleh turned around his Jets defense by drafting Sauce Gardner, who was an instant superstar corner. After being taken with the number 4 pick in 2022, Hunter would fill a huge hole for the 49ers, a position we've seen the franchise previously prioritize with free agent signings such as Richard Sherman and Charvarius Ward. And isn't Shanahan the perfect coach to find spots for Hunter in 10-15 snaps a game? The 49ers have been extremely aggressive in pursuing players whom they see as transcendent difference makers, even if it means paying premiums to acquire them. This was the same franchise that once suggested it would have taken Reuben Foster at number 3 overall. It also traded 3 first-round picks to the Dolphins for Trey Lance. If the 49ers love Hunter, they might throw positional value by the wayside. Moving up from number 11 to number 4 is equivalent to the number 35 pick in a typical draft by the Johnson chart. The 49ers would essentially be treating the difference between the 2 players in this draft as that second rounder. Of course, that's the unrealistic scenario, so let's get into the realm of possibilities for a realistic trade-up in the first round. Upgrading the trenches when moving up in the top 10, it not only has to be for a position of need, but a player at a premium position high on the 49ers board. Looking at the current class, upgrading the trenches seems to be the main realistic way to move up a few spots to select a player. On the defensive side, Michigan Wolverines defensive tackle Mason Graham has been touted as a top 10 pick by analysts all offseason long. While a tad bit undersized at 6'3", 296 pounds with 12th percentile arm length at the 2025 NFL Combine, Graham could be a coveted 3-down player for the 49ers. They're in dire need of players on the interior after releasing Malik Collins and Javon Hargrave this offseason, and it's hard to find frontline starters outside of the early rounds. Elsewhere, targeting a top-tier offensive tackle could make sense. For the 49ers, with Missouri's Armand Membou and LSU's Will Campbell being touted as the top players at the position by analysts. Membou tested great at the Combine and has drawn significant buzz this offseason, while Campbell has long been seen as a top offensive lineman in the class. The 49ers are very particular when it comes to drafting offensive linemen early, as their brass noted that they have specific traits they seek in tackles. If either of the 2 players fits that mold and falls down the top 10, the 49ers could use their extra capital and pull the trigger on a trade to nab them a tackle of the future. After all, the clock is ticking for them to find a solution with Trent Williams continuing to get older and Colton McKivitz in the final year of his deal. Sneaky position of need? We mentioned Travis Hunter as an unrealistic trade-up target earlier. Apart from that, it seems like the trenches would be the only other main category to trade up for in this draft. But if the 49ers are very set on a player, they could elect to move up a spot or two to nab them, gaining a cornerstone piece for their new core, and that could be Michigan's Will Johnson. Johnson seems to have a wide draft range among analysts, but his profile seems to fit what the 49ers want in their secondary to a T. Newly hired defensive coordinator Robert Saleh rebuilt the Jets' defense with a strong pass rush and key players in the secondary. He could add to the latter with a talented trio of cornerbacks should the 49ers select Johnson. Now, the Michigan standout could be available at number 11, so a trade-up may not be necessary, but teams have shown the willingness to move up a spot or two in the top 10 to get their guy, and Johnson could be that for the 49ers, who would probably only have to part ways with a fourth-round pick to move up. As the draft nears, it's unclear what direction San Francisco is thinking with their first-round pick, but there's always the possibility of a trade. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Niners. News to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video, thanks. Now let's get back to the news. San Francisco 49ers predicted to land 3,400-yard weapon for Brock Purdy, and the San Francisco 49ers could use more help offensively. After trading Deebo Samuel away, there is a need for another wide receiver. While the 49ers could consider making a move in the free agency market, they could also consider pursuing an offensive upgrade in the 2025 NFL Draft. Right now, San Francisco holds the number 11 overall pick. There is a good chance that a few great options will be available for the 49ers to scoop up. A new prediction has been made that would see San Francisco bring in a dynamic 3,400-yard weapon for Purdy to work with. Justin Lewis of Pro Football Network has released a new mock draft, and he has the 49ers ending up with Arizona Wildcats standout Tyrell McMillan with the number 11 pick. McMillan is a big-bodied pass catcher with an outstanding catch radius and hands, he wrote. He has rare ball skills and is an outstanding contested catch and red zone threat, but he has the athleticism of a receiver who is smaller in stature and can make plays with the ball in his hands. Brock Purdy needs another weapon on the outside, with the departure of Deebo Samuel to the Washington Commanders. Standing in at 6'5" and just over 210 pounds, McMillan has great size to go along with great speed and athleticism. He would instantly become a playmaking threat within Kyle Shanahan's offense, catching passes from Purdy. During the 2024 college football season with Arizona, McMillan racked up 84 receptions for 1,319 yards and 8 touchdowns. Back in 2023, he caught 90 passes for 1,402 yards and 10 scores. If he's there when San Francisco's on the clock at number 11, he'll be tough to pass on. Speculating what 49ers could get in a Brock Purdy draft day trade, the Niners could take a different approach with Brock Purdy than they previously took with other players when extension talks went sour. The 49ers have publicly said they want to commit fully to Brock Purdy, but what if contract talks break down and he's put on the trade block? By all accounts, including those from the team itself, the San Francisco 49ers want and are optimistic about quarterback Brock Purdy remaining with the franchise as a well-paid centerpiece. Recent comments from head coach Kyle Shanahan, general manager John Lynch, and even CEO Jed York have all pointed at the ongoing contract extension talks progressing in the right direction, a far cry from the contemptuous negotiations that existed. On previous conversations with other stars like wide receiver Deebo Samuel, defensive end Nick Bosa, and wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, the Niners front office was reportedly upset with how those extensions for Samuel, Bosa, and Ayuk were handled, and a newfound cost-cutting campaign suggests they won't be anywhere near as lenient when it comes to caving to player demands. Perhaps this includes Purdy now, or maybe it doesn't. It's hard to say. This is all hypothetical, of course. But let's assume Purdy's camp demands contract terms San Francisco absolutely won't approach, leading to yet another standoff. The 49ers have leverage, including letting Purdy play out the final year of his current deal, plus the option of back-to-back franchise tags in 2026 and 2027. Yet Purdy has leverage too, particularly having saved the Niners millions in spend while playing. At an MVP level, particularly in 2023 when he helped take San Francisco to the Super Bowl, of course there's one way to end an impasse trading Purdy. While it seems oh so unlikely, what would the 49ers be able to command in return if they ultimately made Purdy available for a trade heading into the 2025 NFL Draft? What could 49ers get in return if they trade Brock Purdy first? Let's state the obvious. Quarterbacks command much more in value, both monetary and draft resources, than any other position. While some may not view Purdy as truly elite, the fact he plays the most important position in sports only drives up his value. On top of that, the 2025 draft class is relatively thin and top-heavy at quarterback, effectively leaving Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, and arguably Jalen Milroe within the top 100 prospects. There are more teams in need of quarterbacks than there are prospective ones available who have any promise. Sports Illustrated's Grant Cohn proposed an idea of the top drafting Tennessee Titans passing on Ward at number 1 overall, using it for Penn State edge Abdul Carter, while also trading for Purdy, although it doesn't appear as if Cohn realized Tennessee doesn't have 2 first-round picks to do this. The Titans currently own the number 1 pick in the upcoming draft and are expected to take Miami quarterback Cam Ward. But most draft analysts agree that Ward isn't the best prospect in the draft Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter. So instead of drafting Ward, the Titans could draft Carter and trade for Purdy. They would send a first-round pick this year and a conditional second-rounder next year that could become a first-rounder if the Titans make the playoffs and Purdy stays healthy. Meanwhile, Cohn suggested Shanahan could turn to the recently acquired Mac Jones as a would-be Purdy replacement under center. For getting Carter, Purdy netting 2 first-round picks, including number 1 overall from Tennessee, is a far-flung reach, especially considering the Niners' signal caller is coming off a down year right before his eligibility for a potential market resetting. Extension. Trading 2 round 1 picks, particularly the first overall selection, simply wouldn't happen. That said, quarterbacks are valued higher than any other position, and Purdy's reputation as being a quality player is certainly felt within league circles, even if it's not fully embraced by league fans and media. And again, there are more quarterback-needy teams than options at this point, teams drafting outside the top 5, including the New York Jets number 7 overall, New Orleans Saints number 9 overall, and Pittsburgh Steelers number 21 overall, all potentially have long-term questions at the position, but even they may be hesitant to dish out their respective first-rounders to San Francisco in exchange for Purdy. Now, a package of second- and/or third-round picks seems much more reasonable. At best, should the 49ers actually entertain a Purdy trade, another team could get desperate and shell out a round 1 selection after wholly missing out on the top 3 prospects. In reality, though, Purdy likely wouldn't command anything higher than a round 2 pick plus some proverbial draft change. And now, Niners fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Niners. A lot. Be back any moment with more Niners news.